This vision begins, of course, with a reimagining of the concept of ritual, a subject that was also covered in our first video, but one that must now be put in a broader context. In that video, we learned that where ritual had traditionally been understood as referring to religious ceremonies and official regulations, Confucius reimagined ritual, or li, as a model for all social life. He did this in two primary ways. The first was by giving the name of ritual to all those customs and habits and laws of etiquette that regulate social interaction and that give people a sense of identification with each other. To Confucius, a ritual sacrifice, a marriage ceremony, a funeral, proper forms of greeting, table manners, standard behaviors of respect and etiquette are all examples of ritual. In doing so, Confucius expanded the concept of ritual and implicitly developed a conception of the meaning of social convention and tradition as means of moral education. Rituals are crucial to just such an education for Confucius, because they are the vehicles by which humanity is refined and shaped into its highest form, what Confucius calls the untranslatable word of Ren. Ren is a complicated ideal, and Confucius adds to the difficulty of understanding it by refusing to provide a straightforward explanation of the word. There are many reasons for this refusal, but prime among them is the central concern with hypocrisy that drives much of the Confucian vision, and which emanates from the fundamental paradox contained in the failure of the ritual order. For Confucius believes that to talk glibly and easily about the good is a sign of a lack of sincerity and reverence for it. Thus, one of the first sayings concerning Ren in the Analects, the classical collection of Confucius's sayings, is the following: "A clever tongue and fine appearance are rarely signs of Ren." The result of this suspicion is that the proper way to interpret Ren is one of the great subjects of debate for scholars of Confucius's sayings, and it has been variously translated as goodness, benevolence, charity, love, and humanness. But even if the full contours of Ren are difficult to trace out, there are 5 well-established features it has that are sufficient for our purposes. The first is that Ren entails a notion of human nature having a certain type of natural function or tendency. What this means is that just as a seed is destined, given the right nourishment, to grow into a particular kind of tree, so a human being has a strong and natural tendency to develop into Ren. Indeed, the word Ren is derived from the word for person, and so the most natural way to translate Ren might be as humanness or humaneness. To be Ren is to be a complete human being. And so, a person who fails to be Ren is called a little or small person. Secondly, the person who is Ren is motivated to do good things for their own sake, and not for any benefits that may follow from such good acts. Confucius expresses this in the Analects in the following manner: "One who is Ren sees as his first priority the hardship of self-cultivation, and only after thinks about results or reward." And as the classical Confucian text, The Great Learning, says, "The humane employ wealth so that the person will blossom. The inhumane employ the person so that wealth will blossom." The third feature of Ren is that it involves a profound kind of empathy and care for others and for the health of one's society. In this way, the sense of the word Ren strongly resembles our Western use of the word humane and humanitarian, insofar as these words indicate that part of being human is feeling compassion and care for others. When a person says, "I am no monster, I am human," they mean to convey some of the connotations that Confucius is also invoking here. This is embodied in a famous statement of Confucius about Ren. "Desiring to take his stand, one who is Ren helps others to take their stand. Wanting to realize himself, he helps others to realize themselves. Being able to take what is near at hand as an analogy, could perhaps be called the method of Ren. But Ren is not merely a matter of good intentions. Ren also involves the capacity and willingness to meet the demands of one's social role in a way that is flexible, spontaneous, and sensitive to the needs of the particular moment. Confucius articulates this feature of Ren in the following saying. When asked about Ren, the master said, "While at home, hold yourself in a respectful attitude. When serving in an official capacity, be reverent. When dealing with others, do your best." These are qualities that cannot be put aside, even if you go and live among the barbarians. The fifth and last significant feature of Ren is that this empathy and dutifulness are rooted in a deep appreciation and understanding of our common humanity. It is, to a significant extent, this appreciation for what goes into being human, and what human beings are capable of, that leads to this empathy, creativity, and capacity to do what the moment and the situation require. This aspect of Ren is difficult to sum up in a single saying of either Confucius or his disciples. Various aspects of it are touched upon in the Great Learning and the Doctrine of the Mean, another core Confucian text. For instance, in the Doctrine of the Mean, it is emphasized that the way does not depart far from man. If a man creates a way that departs from others, it cannot be taken as the way. The Junsa governs humans by means of what is human, and once they are reformed, he stops. If you would be unwilling to have something done to you, do not do it to others. Here it is emphasized that it is only by understanding our common humanity that we can lead other human beings and can embrace the proper way of living. This being the case, the problem of education for Confucius is how to cultivate our raw human nature so that it has the emotional and practical dispositions that display themselves in the good person, the person who is and does Ren. In simple terms, the problem is, how do we become Ren?